So we are going to work with the letter forms that we had gotten from the newspaper article or the magazine that we had scanned or took a picture of originally, and we're going to go through understanding our selection tools here. So the difference between the direct selection tool and the selection tool. When I click on the letter form with the selection tool, all of the points highlight and it lets me move this around. So I can simply move them around. We can move one in front of the other using our positioning of the spaces, the letter forms within the order, so how they're arranged on top of each other. So this lets us move the entire selection. If we use the direct select tool, I'm going to zoom in on this so that you can see the points a little bit easier. The direct selection tool selects points, individual points, and it allows me to click on them and stretch them up. And while we have this up here, we're also going to go over the pen tool a little bit and these Bezier curves in the handles. So when I have the handles, when I move the handles out, it impacts the curve. When we make curves, we want fewer points and more of that mathematics doing these curves. So if we would be drawing these out, we'd want to clean these up and have this be 1 point here, 1 point here, and that curve complete from the math going from one point to the next, not clickety, 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 and have a jaggy line. Here we might want to clean this up, and so let's go in and look at these points and talk about the pen tool. So this is my pen tool here. I like to do the tearaway. That allows me to bring that over to my where I'm working so I can click between the options easy. I have my points selected. This lets me convert my anchor points. So for instance, this is a curved point right now. If I select this convert point and click there, it's going to make it a hard line to a hard line instead of a curve. So that became a direct point. Let me pull it out so you can see it a little bit more. So this is a straight line to a straight line, it makes a point. If I use that convert tool again and I click on this point and hold down with my mouse and pull, and so you have to do this very carefully, don't get freaked out. If it messes up, undo and do it again. Allows me to have two handles. A lot of times students right now will try to click on this and drive, and if you do that, you're simply going to be moving between a curved point and a very linear point or line-to-line point. In order to impact the handles now, I need to go and get the direct select tool or the white arrow key. So the white arrow key is letting you know it selects the points on the outside of the object, so the outlined points. I'm going to click on that. I can make this short. That's going to make this go from a straight line to a curved line, and let me manipulate that. Okay. If I get both of my handles out, I'm going to go back and convert this back and go and grab my direct select tool. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Option on the keyboard, and you see that that gives me a plus sign. That lets me engage each curve independently now, and they don't have to be a straight line across from each other, so that two different curves can come into and access one reference point within the object. This is a pretty important and impactful way for things to be manipulated. The subtract tool will delete anchor points, so we can go in here, let's delete this anchor point by using the minus pen tool key, and you notice it gave me a defunct thing. That's because I hit on the handle instead of on the point itself. I'm just going to take some of these out. When you're deleting points, you're going to want to use the minus key or the delete anchor point key and not delete on your keyboard. Delete on your keyboard is going to do something different and potentially impacts the entire shape that you've already been working to create. So try to remember to use the add points, subtract points this way. Next thing let's go over really quick is our eraser tool. So our eraser tool is going to erase out or subtract through the objects. And what this does is allows this to become another piece. Underneath my erase tool, if I click and hold, I also have a scissors and a knife. Let's use the knife. I think I have to, in order to have the knife work, I have to have it selected. So I'm going to just draw a line through. You notice I do a lot of click away, then click back in to make sure that I can access things. Your instinct by being in the arts is going to be that you can use this X-Acto knife tool. Don't do it unless you understand what it's for. This is a slice tool, and it has to do with being able to upload images to the web and into video. This does not work like an X-Acto knife that you know in your lab spaces or your art studios. Use the knife tool, the erasers tool, or the scissors. I'm not a big fan of the scissors, so I'm going to have you explore that on your own. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is using the Pathfinder to join paths and also use the shape builder. Right now we've went over the pen tool, we've gone over the select and the direct select tool, so we've got just a little more to do.